This is N4LQ. Hello, CQ. CQ calling CQ the Old Friends Net. It's 9 a.m. and the Old Friends Net meets here 3715 every Tuesday morning at this time, and on Thursday morning at this time and this frequency, and then on Sunday at 6:30 p.m. on this frequency. The Old Friends Net is a old-fashioned round table net whereby you simply give the network control your call sign, and I'll put them in order, and you can transmit when it comes your turn. So let's go ahead and start the check-ins now. This is N4LQ. Give me a call.
WB4ARK.
WB4NKL.
K4 VWD.
N4OZI.
W4MEC.
All right, right after Buddy, ARK, I heard K3OS, and then there was another station at the same time. Who was that?
4GN.
Gotcha, George. I've got the following WB4ARK, and then K3OS, and then K4GDN, WB4NKL, K4VWD, N4OZI, and W4MEC. Any more check-ins? Call now.
WA4EVK.
I got you, Boone. Anybody else? Okay, so we had WA4EVK after Charlie, MEC. One more time down the list, ARK, OS, to GDN, the NKL, to VWD, OZI, MEC, and EVK. One more time for check-ins, N4LQ. Well, there you go. Looks like a wet morning for a lot of the state of North Carolina. We got a big rain cloud heading this way from out in the west, so I think probably around noon or so we'll start to see some stuff happening. We got about 3/4 of an inch of rain over the past 12 hours. Just what we needed, really. I'm glad to get it. I'm running the AF68 this morning and the horizontal loop antenna and the AL1200 amplifier, putting out about 300 watts carrier. So I guess everybody's getting ready for Shelby. If you're going, that's where Dave is this morning, I believe. He's down here getting set up, and I guess he didn't get his antenna up yet, but maybe he did. I don't know yet. I was over there yesterday at the fairgrounds snooping around, and there's probably half a dozen big RVs and campers and things parked there already whooping it up. So it's going to be a great week. The weather forecast for Shelby Friday and Saturday is sunny and 80 degrees. What more could you want? So, buddy, take it away. WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve, well, quiet morning except for a few static crashes here and there. And we had 0.13 inches of rain in the three storms that we had yesterday, up until about, I guess it was maybe 11 o'clock last night, which was the last one. And so that's the situation on the rain front. The other information I'll give you about a local lightning discharge will come next. K3OS, WB4ARK.
Okay, WB4ARK, K3OS. Morning, buddy. Everybody. Got the same weather. Had a whole lot of rain last night. A little gutter that needs a little attention this morning, so get a short ladder up to take care of that issue. That came spilling out over. I've got a corner that gets leaves, and I've just got to pull it out of there. It takes me about 5 minutes. And looking forward to seeing some of you guys at Shelby this weekend. I'm going to try to be there. Running the Gonset Twins this morning. Just running, looks like I'm running barefoot. And kind of sat out the side this morning, had a little coffee, but it was certainly very muggy. Been that way here for a few days, so looking forward to a little drying out over the week. So down to George, K4GDN, K3OS.
K3OS and the group is K4GDN. Well, it's clear down here at Myrtle Beach. We haven't had any rain for a couple of days, but it's sure been hot and humid. I did a little work on one of my outbuildings yesterday, just put together a little ramp to get into it. And by the time I was done, I guess it took me about 3 hours, it seemed like somebody turned a hose on me. It's just been unbearably humid down here at the beach. And we're getting for the rain from the hurricane. We haven't had any rain for a while. They're predicting up to 6 inches, depending on where you are down here. I'm running the Viking 2 and the HRO50 on my center-fed dipole this morning. And I guess I'm putting out about 100 watts carrier. Everybody seems to be coming in pretty good. I hear a few static crashes here and there, but nothing much. So with that, it goes to Cliff, WB4NKL and the group K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4NKL. Good copy, George. Sounding good. I'm getting some static crashes here too, but copied you 100%. Everybody's coming in pretty decent. We had rain overnight, rained hard. I noticed I got out early this morning and took a walk in a couple of driveways that got washed out, rocks that was out down in the road. And it's trying to rain. Good thing I got to walk in early. It's trying to sprinkle a little bit of rain here right now, so hopefully that'll all clear out down in North Carolina, Shelby, by Friday. Looking forward to it, and I hope to see a bunch of you guys down there. So send it on around. Go ahead, Lee. K4VWD, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, thank you. This is K4VWD from N4AKL, WB4NKL. All right. Well, my temperature gauge is not working this morning. I'm going to guess it's about 75 here and cloudy. Thank you, Steve, for doing the net so far, and thank you for the schedule for the net control for September. Thank you very much. And I know some of you know this, but I'm going to mention it again because I know Cliff wasn't here Sunday. I'm looking for the main tuning knob for an AF68. The main tuning knob for an AF68. So if anybody's got one, I sure would like to have it.
And I had a thunderstorm last night about 11 o'clock. It woke me up. And looking at the rain gauge this morning, it's about 1 inch of rain last night. And George, I can tell you're in there, and I can tell your voice, but I can't understand you yet. So with that, I'll keep it going. To you, Alan, N4OZI, K4VWD.
Okay, Lee. K4VWD in the group. It's N4OZI. Well, it's good to be back in here. I usually can't get into these morning sessions during the summer, but now that the days are getting shorter and stuff, I thought I'd give it a try and get back into the rotation again. Usually June and July and parts of August, this propagation just doesn't work at this hour. But today it looks like it's working pretty good, so it's good to be back and checking in with you guys in the morning. Not much going on here. Last night about 3 a.m. woke me up. Looks like we had about 1 1/4 inches in the past 24 hours. Currently about 72, I think is what it is out there. Supposed to get more rain today and a little bit tomorrow, and then it'll be nice for your Hamfest up there in Shelby. Won't be able to make Shelby, but did make Huntsville and had some pictures of you on the QRZ page. And that was a lot of fun. Came back with a KWM2 and a scope for my, I'm going to make the station monitor out of it. I got the parts in yesterday. I'm going to hook them up today. And a speaker for one of my drakes. Got a good price on a speaker there. So with that, over to you, Charlie, W4MEC. It's N4OZI.
Okay, N4OZI. And the old friend, W4MEC. Touching up my tuning on the antenna. When I started, it was lightly raining, and it looked a lot like I left it on Sunday. When the net started, it went up quite a bit, because it started to pour rain. We got a pretty good storm coming through here right now. I saw it last night coming through Georgia, and it's here now, dumping quite a bit of water on the ground. And a couple of QRN blasts there, distant. I haven't looked to see where it is, lightning. But, well, not bad at all. So, I think I said good morning. Everybody's sounding good. Got a good copy on George, so the water must be conductive. Down to Boone, WA4EVK in the group, W4MEC.
W4MEC in the group, WA4EVK. Well, I'm looking forward to Shelby, and good copy of everybody, including George this morning, and I'm going to have to sign. I got another thunderstorm rolling in on me, and it's getting a little too close for comfort. I'm going to have to pull the plug. So back to you, Steve. N4LQ, WA4EVK, 73.
Okay, 73, Boone, and I would unhook the antenna, so I see the lightning on the map here, and it's sort of southwest of Hendersonville, so that's probably down where Boone is. Anyway, this N4LQ and the old friends net, and we will now stand by for any late check-ins.
W4VRO.
Okay, good morning, Ray. W4VRO. Go ahead and make a transmissions. N4LQ.
N4LQ and the net. This is W4VRO.
Good morning, Steve, and good morning to everyone on the net. I'm sorry to be late getting in here. Stand by one and let me just check a couple of things. Okay, well, that says 3715, so everything else looks okay. We had a little rain here last night, too, in the middle of the night. I don't know what time it was, but there's not a lot of rain, but we need all we can get. It's been, we had a week or two of a lot of rain, but
Prior to that, it's been a sort of a dry year. So I don't know. I think I got everybody. Maybe, but I started with Lee, so I don't know if I got everybody checked in or not. So back to you, Steve, and I'll get my list up to date and check it. N4LQ in the group, W4VR.
Okay, Ray, very good, and it's good to hear from you. You will come after Charlie next time. And then back to me. So, well, let's see. Buddy's got a story about lightning he's going to tell us, and I'm sure you're running your ART-13, or at least that's all I've heard for a long time, so I assume that's what you're running. And it sounds very good. And Gary, your Gauntsett Twins, that's sounding good. George out there on the beach in the Viking 2 in the humidity, that's the old Viking 2 sounds great, George. And Cliff, I'm not sure, it kind of sounds like you're running a Globe King, but I can hear a little bit of fan noise in the background, so that kind of reminds me of a Globe King. Usually your DX100 doesn't have that, and but it sounds good crisp audio, good highs. And Lee is blasting in here with his AF68 and the Bandit amplifier, and Lee's on the search for a knob for the AF68, the main tuning knob. Good luck on that one, Lee. Hope you can find one. I'll be at the Hamfest. I'll try to keep an eye out for one, and they're kind of unusual, so they're easy to spot. Got a brass insert in the center there where the shaft is reduced to a very small size for that VFO. And I mean, it must be an eighth or even a less than an eighth of an inch in diameter. So, and Alan, I suspect you're on some kind of an SDR, probably a Flex. It sounds real good. So, just waiting for the rain here in Shelby, and having a good time doing some AM this morning. So, buddy, go ahead, WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve. Well, last night about a little before 11, I had gone to bed, and we were getting ready to have a storm. It had been building for a good while, and so the cat was at the foot of the bed, and Linda had turned on a small night light. She turns that on when I go to bed because she can't see to get into the room to go to bed. She comes to bed after I do. And so about, I don't know, we started getting some lightning crashes closer and closer, and all of a sudden there was this huge, I mean, the loudest explosion I have ever heard, and instantaneous light and boom at the same time. I know it hit somewhere in the backyard. And so I lay there for a couple of seconds or so and noticed that the cat is now getting up and leaving the room. The other cat meets her in the doorway, and they're off to the back bedroom at the other end of the house to go under the bed. And so that was the end of them. So I got up and started checking. The overhead ceiling fan wasn't running anymore, and the night light was out. So I asked, Linda was in the den at the front of the house, and I said, did we have a glitch at that moment? And she said no. And so I checked the switches and everything was fine, so I decided to put on my shoes, go downstairs and see what was going on. Well, first I had come upstairs to check my antennas,
because my radio room is on the second floor. And didn't see anything, didn't smell any ozone, didn't see any smoke or anything. One antenna, the 80 meter, was lying on the floor on the carpet, and the other two, the beam and the 40 meter, were grounded. So I didn't see anything, so I went downstairs, checked the circuit breaker panel in the basement, and sure enough, the arc fault breaker in our master bedroom was tripped, so I reset it without any problem and went back upstairs. The fan was running and the night light was on. So the storm went on for, I don't know, 20, 30 more minutes, and it's a pretty intense storm, good bit of rain, and then began to move on off, and the lightning continued for, I don't know, maybe an hour off to the east of us. But that was a harrowing experience. I haven't had one strike that close to the house since we've been down here, and I didn't see anything. I walked down briefly into the wooded area about 70 feet from the house where it starts, and I didn't see anything yet, so I know it hit something close by, because it was a flash, instantaneous thunder. So we'll see what the future brings for a lightning strike on one of the huge oak trees that we have back in the woods. So that's the story here for lightning, and it's good to make sure that everything is disconnected when you leave your radio room. So over to Gary, K3OS, WB4ARK.
Every once in a while, you hear those that get really, really close. It's a frightening experience, to be sure. We have two cats here, buddy, and they do the same thing. They were hunkered down all last night. Every time they hear a bolt of thunder, they're not happy. They hightail it, or they cower for a while, and then decide to come out and they get another bolt. Poor guys, it's just a way of life. For those of you who caught my post yesterday regarding AC leakage to chassis on a pair of Kenwood twins, I'll give you an update on that briefly. I did some measuring. I pulled out that. I'll send a picture around maybe later on today. That the AC input is in kind of like a little slide-out unit. But anyway, I was able to get to it, and I measured all the capacitors. They're little .0047s, and there are four of them, basically, two across each, two coils. Capacitor on the front end, back end of each one of the little inductors. And those capacitors look okay, and very low leakage, low loss, all that stuff, according to my little tester. So I have to, and those values are kind of common when you look around all the rest of the rigs. They run typically like .01s across the AC line. So I basically determined that circuit is okay, and what was missing was just a 3-wire cord. Because if I ground it, everything is okay, because there was a 2-wire cord going in. So I have just decided that I'm in the process of fitting a 3-wire cord. I know that solves the problem, because when that radio is connected to my antenna switch, it gets grounded to my ground bus in the shack, and of course outside. So I think I'm just going to let that go, and think that is common in the 2-wire system, and it assumes that you're going to bond that into your ground system, and that solves the problem. But I'll let you know. I'll post some pictures of it. It's kind of a tight little thing, but something in the older gear that we got to get used to. In this radio, the capacitors are okay. Copy everybody really good. Hearing Ray here for first time in a long time. Good to hear. Let's see. And copying George just fine. K4TDM, up to you. Thanks for calling.
hard time getting me. It must be my antenna system. Anyway, speaking about the lightning and the grounding, the only problem I ever had with the lightning, I had a little antenna that ran just under the eave of the house when we were in Roebuck, and I left it connected to my little 1254 receiver. We had a lightning strike with it about a quarter of a mile one time, and we have trees all around us, so there was no worry about it. The lightning generally hit the antenna, but it did take out the FETs in the front end of that little radio, and I replaced them, and everything was okay. The FETs are very sensitive to that, but it's always been my practice after that any antenna is not in use, it's grounded, definitely grounded. Excuse me. And all of my grounded rods are bonded together, and they're bonded to the incoming power. And all chassis are grounded. I have ground bus on both of my operating positions, and that's always the case. And like I say, when I'm not using an antenna, it's grounded. And if for some reason it's not going to be used, it's on the ground. I never leave anything connected. And I've had good luck. I ground the chassis on everything, and I generally use 3-wire connectors for the AC. And I don't like the bypass capacitors. I generally get rid of them. And I haven't had any problems with them there. At least not in the last 40 or 50 years. Early on, I did have some problems with things putting one side to the chassis, one side of the line to the chassis early on. But anyway, everybody was saying is coming in here fairly well today. We're getting ready for the flood with the hurricane. It's supposed to come in tomorrow sometime. It's supposed to be gone by Friday or either Thursday night. So we'll see how that goes. Hopefully I'll be in here on Thursday. We won't be washed away. And good to hear everybody this morning. Everybody's coming in here really well, with the exception of Alan, and I'm complimenting to him. So with that, I'll pass it on to Cliff. WB4NKL in the group, K4GDN.
K4GDN, WB4NKL. Good copy, George. And I was copying Alan, but I'm sort of in between. Both of you are the furthest out, but I'm sort of in between them, I guess. And the rain's picking up here in East Tennessee. I don't know if you can hear it on the roof or not, but it's starting in pretty good. And Steve, I am back on the Globe King here. I put the shield back over the final. You know, I was trying to talk to you on it the other day and had a little squeal, and I think took the shield off. I was getting some RF back into something. George, our buddy, I'm glad you didn't have any damage from the lightning hit. We had a pine tree here about 2 months ago that got hit, and my wife was sitting there in the den, and it was a flash boom, you know, and sparks popped off of a few things around her, but nothing really damaged. But it scared her right good, and had some people coming to cut another tree, so I just let them take that one out while they were at it, because you could see a big streak down the side of it where it had got hit. It's a big tree, but it wakes everybody up when they get a close-in hit like that. Lee, I've got a knob on my AF68 I don't want to part with, but I'm like Steve, I'll keep my eyes open down at Shelby. And if it shows up in Shelby between all of us, maybe we'll find it for you. K4VWD, WB4NKL.
Okay, Cliff, thank you. WB4NKL, K4VWD. Well, thank you for looking. I do appreciate it. I sure would like to find one. Thanks for mentioning the knob, Dave. I do appreciate it. I picked up another Humminbird yesterday, so I got 3 here now. I've had 2 all summer, and now I've got 3, and they are really chasing each other all around the feeder. Let's see. I had George. George, you came up that time around. You were probably an S6 to an S9, and I copied most of what you said. So band conditions are improving. And I've got my daughter coming to visit today and bringing me lunch, so I'm looking forward to that. So with that, I'll keep it going. Alan, here she comes, N4OZI in the group, K4VWD.
Okay, Lee. 4V group, N4OZI. Well, the band's doing fairly good, but I think I'll make this one my last transmission. But it sure is good to get in and talk to you guys. And yes, Steve, I'm on the 6400 Flex, the faceless Flex, driving the new Ameriton. This is a Ameriton brand new a few months ago. And seems to be working out pretty good. But yeah, we'll see how the thing goes today. I know there's a lot of lightning. And if you guys, somebody was saying up there, a buddy was saying that the lightning might hit a tree. That's unfortunate. It does happen. I had one hit behind my house many years ago. I was in the ham shack and it zapped a Leland cypress right outside the window, and it just you could hear it arcing out there. It was so loud. That was pretty intense, and it needless to say, it killed that tree. All right, well, I'll say 73s. Thanks for calling that, Steve. Hopefully we'll get on 160 soon. I'm looking forward to it, and hearing you and Mir and all the other guys up on 160, sure miss it. But we should be able to get on 160 soon. So with that, over to you, Charlie. I saw your little statement here about lightning. That was pretty entertaining. So yeah, being in some of those places would not be good. So W4MEC to take it. It's N4OZI 73s.
N4OZI in the group W4MEC. Strike through that. Okay. Good copy all around. George, I got your shopping list, and I'm putting together a care package, and it will be brought to you, hand-delivered, from September, probably somewhere around the weekend of the 15, 16. I'll visit with you and meet you somewhere and drop it off or run by your house. I'll be taking the wife and the RV down there to Myrtle Beach, and she's going to set up for a 2-week stay, and I'll stay a couple of days and come home, and then we'll ride back down with my daughter-in-law. They're going to an event they have there called Holly's, I don't know, has something to do with Halloween, and everybody just decorates their golf cart, and they give away candy. It's a real big thing that they do down there. And I'm going to ride down with her with the grandkids, and then bring the trailer home 2 weeks later. So one of those weekends I will get you your care package there. And it looks like Wayne, WA4FTY, is very interested in Glenn's Valiant, and we're setting up a swap for a piece of gear, and I'll be taking that down with me to Myrtle also, and on the way back meet him somewhere. And one of his I know he's not going to pick it up, but somewhere meet him and hand him his Valiant over. So got that squared away. And let's see, lightning, the only one I've only had, knock on wood here. I had a one direct hit. My first house, 80-meter dipole fed with 450 ohm ladder line, but it was copper-coated steel wires with little white Delrin spacers about every 10 inches or so. And I happened to be in the house when it hit. I wasn't on the air. The antenna was grounded. And when it hit, my little station was in the corner of our dining room. And I had sold everything, all my ham gear. I got rid of all of it, sold it all, and bought a used pair of Drake twins there, T4XC, R4C, from Amateur Electronic Supply. This was about 1979. And And that was in my corner there in a little custom-made vertical little table with a fold-out shelf, operating desk, and kept it nice and neat out of the way at times. But anyway, I was in near the room, and what I felt was a warm, what do you call it? The room felt warm and it glowed purple. So, I knew it was a hit. Right on the property somewhere, and it didn't dawn on me what they hit until maybe an hour later, or a short time later. I went outside, and when I went in the backyard, the whole backyard was strewn with those little white Delrin spacers that basically vaporized the entire feed line and most of the antenna that was strung between two pine trees, and it hit it, but not the two pine trees it was hung from. And one end there was about 40 feet of wire hanging down on one tree, and the other end there was nothing. So. And the ladder line was gone all the way about 3 feet from where it went in the house. So, and it went in the house. I was a little industrious. I actually drilled holes in a pane of glass in a double-hung window, and put 2 screws in there with rubber washers, and made a feed-through right through the glass. And I had it hooked to that. But about 3 foot from that, it was burned off and disappeared. So, and I have had no strikes around here. I've had them in the pasture and things like that, but. Nothing on the house around here or even close, but I know exactly what it's like, and it'll scare the pants off you if anything. So, and then the cats go hide under something for about a week. So, anyway, let's see. It goes to Boone, WA4EVK in the group. W4MC.
Yeah, Boone is gone. Goes to Ray, VRO. Go ahead, Ray.
Okay, Steve and Charlie. Info LQ and the net at W4VRO. Good lightning stories this morning. Fascinating stuff. Very interesting subject. Does lightning strike in the same place twice? There's an old saying that it does not. I wouldn't count on it. I think it strikes anywhere it wants to, twice or not. Buddy, what a lightning strike. Wow. That would be scary, even if you did realize it after the fact. And Charlie, a close call with your lightning strike. I have not had any strong lightning strikes involving the equipment. I saw where lightning had struck once, a very curious thing. And buddy, if you look in the woods for a tree that has been hit by lightning and don't find one, think about what I found in the woods many years ago in the mountains of South Carolina. I started seeing on the ground splinters of wood, different sizes. The largest ones were 1.5 inches or 2 inches wide by 5 or 6 inches long, and the others were smaller. And there were hundreds, thousands of them on the ground. The ground was almost covered with them. And the most curious thing about it was that they were somewhat oriented. And I could not think how in the world all those wood splinters were put in the woods that way, and they were new. No change in color from the air and the sun. I mean, they'd been splintered recently. Then I thought of lightning as a possibility, and I started walking around in the woods on those splinters, looking for a tree that had been hit, and didn't find one, and didn't find a tree stump. But I found a tree hole, a stump hole. Lightning had hit that tree and splintered every piece of wood in that tree down into the ground a couple of feet. And I took some pictures of it. That was the most bizarre lightning strike I've seen. Well, everybody's sounding good. Gary, thanks that you're hearing me a little bit, and I was copying you about 25%. You're right at the noise level, but I copied about 25% of what you were saying, and George copying you somewhat too. So, some QRN, but it's not close, and it's not high level. Other than that, the band's quiet, so good conditions this morning. Alan, good to hear you, and I hear you once in a while on on 3725 when I'm sitting here doing something other than working the ham radio, but have the receiver on. So, good to hear you and good to hear Boone. He signed, and good to hear all of you. The conditions are good. Glad I got in here in time to check in. AF68, Lee, I think you're using that this morning. Sounding great. Alan, your signal is booming in here. You and Charlie are the strongest two signals. But Alan, great audio and really strong, good sounding signal. Well, I'm talking too long. So back up to you, Steve. N4LQ in the group, W4VRO.
Okay, Ray, thanks a lot. W4VRO, N4LQ. I'll take a quick standby for any super late stations that would like to check in to the Old Friends Net. Okay, I guess not. Well, there's interesting stories about lightning, and my mom used to tell me not to be in the bathtub during a thunderstorm. And I don't know. Of course, it was a metal bathtub back then, and I'm not too sure if it matters. Of course, we had copper pipes, so in a way, you were grounded in a big water tub and connected to ground through the copper pipes, and there was a scare about lightning hitting the house, and I remember people used to talk about ball lightning that would sometimes come through the house and roll from room to room through the house and then dissipate. So I guess anything's possible. But buddy, that's pretty good. Those cats knew to get out of there. They must have known that where you all were in that bedroom must have been the most intense electrical charge, and they decided to vacate the premises. But okay, on the arc fault, that's interesting. Well, last night, I went to bed last night about 11, and at midnight I got awakened by some thunder and lightning, and it was going pretty good, but it never did rain. It was I think it was just a little bit too far away, but I realized that I had forgotten to unhook the antenna, so I came down here to the shack downstairs, and sure enough, the big knife switch was not in the closed position, and so that disconnects the antenna from the rig, and then it connects it to ground. It's a double pole switch for ladder line, and so that grounds it, and I went back to bed knowing that all was well. But it never did. Actually, it quit storming about the time I got down here to the shack anyway. So, one of the things they tell you is during a thunderstorm, go inside, and somehow a house seems to protect you. I don't know how. A wooden house, you wouldn't think it would matter. But if you're outside, they used to tell you to lie down in a ditch or something like that, but now they're saying, I'm reading it right here, retreat to a house or a big structure of some sort. It says, don't go to a dugout, a pavilion, picnic shelter, or other small structures, and don't touch electronics, outlets, or corded phones. And don't go near tall trees or swim or be near water or be near metal objects or windows. But to go inside, find a sturdy house, building, car with a hard-top roof. Stay indoors for at least 30 minutes after you hear the last thunder. So that's the way you do it. And Gary, okay, on your exciting grounding thing, that's really interesting. And the 3-wire ground plug situation, I know that does protect you from getting shocked, the 3-wire ground. especially between rigs, you know, and if one of them doesn't have a 3-wire ground plug, there can be some leakage. The capacitor will actually pass enough AC that you can feel it. It doesn't necessarily shock you or electrocute you, but you can feel a tingle due to the 60-cycle AC passing through those capacitors. So 3-wire ground plug's a good idea. Sometimes I change them out, sometimes I don't. On the Amico I've got here, it's got its own power supply, and it's got a 2-wire cord, and I was getting some RF back through it, so I wrapped it around a 31 mix core toroid, and that took care of that. But I guess I really should put a new cord on it. And let's see here, Cliff, your Globe King, as I said, sounds great. And Lee's got his hummingbirds going, and Alan got a good deal on a KWM2, and congratulations on that. I've never really had an urge for those. One time a guy gave me a KWM1 to fix, and that was an absolute nightmare. That rig is extremely strange. The KWM2 is a little bit more simpler to work on, but I still not, of course it's a sideband rig basically, that's all it does well. KWM1 only covered 20, I think it covered 20, 15, and 10 meters, and that's it. Didn't even cover 75 meters. So Charlie, good on Wayne wanting that Valiant. I'll get him off that rice box, maybe have a little bit more power. We can hear him, hopefully. Yeah, I understand the Dalton Hamfest is the weekend after Shelby. I don't know much about it. It's too far away from me. Dalton, Georgia is about, oh man, it's like 4 or 5 hour drive from here. A long way to go, and no way to get there from here. So I guess this will be our 73 round, and thank everybody for checking in, and we'll go ahead and turn it to Buddy for his final comments. WB4ARK, N4LQ.
N4LQ, WB4ARK. Okay, Steve, very good information on what to do if you're caught outside during a lightning storm. All very good information. And regarding the bypass capacitors on receivers and transmitters, if you've got a leaky capacitor, that can be a bad thing. If you've got a capacitor that's got a good bit of leakage, you can get hurt, and it can sometimes trip the breaker, depending on the situation of your electrical hookup. But anyhow, those days are gone. The manufacturers have to adhere to certain electrical code requirements today, and they have specifics that have to be met. So anyhow, the lightning was. We have our bedroom on the corner of the house, backside, and the back window is a two single hung or windows on either side of a central panel that is probably two normal windows wide, if you can get that picture, and it with a transom over the top with small panels in that, so it lets in a lot of light. And that brightness from that lightning strike was very, very intense and very wide. it was an eye-opener, that's for sure. And so anyhow, we had a lightning strike in Charlotte right after I first got married, and we were going on a trip down to Clemens, North Carolina, Salemburg area for a family reunion. And I had gone down with my father and mother and my wife, and so on the way back, there's a place coming through Monroe, outside of Monroe, where you reach the top of this hill, you can see almost the Charlotte outline from that point. And there was a huge black cloud over the city, and I was thinking, oh my goodness, I hope that doesn't manifest into a bad storm. Well, I get home, and so luckily I had hooked up my my transmitter and receiver. I hadn't had my license. I had it a while, but I had my station going, and I hadn't had a chance to ground my antenna. So when we left, I pushed the antenna out the window and down. It fell down on the ground about 10 feet or so down in the backyard. And so when I got home, I picked up the antenna and connected it to a string, pulled it back through the window, and was trying to transmit with it. I had a very high SWR. I didn't have an SWR meter, but I could tell something was wrong because the antenna wouldn't load up. So I started looking at the thing and found all these small, tiny holes in the RG8 coax outside covering, and they were where the lightning had gone through the shield to ground, which was, it was lying on the ground, and it had struck either the antenna or the pine tree that I had it connected to in my neighbor's yard about 30 feet up, and knocked a chunk out of that pine tree, came across to the antenna and over and went to ground. And that piece of coax was useless from that point on. I had to get rid of it. It destroyed it. So that was my first encounter with a lightning strike at my QTH. So from that point on, I was always very careful to make sure my antennas were either grounded or floating in some respect. So I'm kind of like Glenn in some cases. I think floating antenna is better, but not always. So with that, over to, let's say, 73. Thanks, Steve, for doing the net. It's been an interesting lightning occurrence net. And hope we'll see most of you folks in Shelby. So over to Gary, K3OS, WB4, ARK.
K3OS. Hey, buddy, really good. Good copy all the way around. I won't keep it long. I think I'm going to duck out. I think I've probably got about a half an hour before we get some rain here, and see if I can get that one gutter cleaned out. Get a short walk in, and then kind of hunker down for the rest of the day. So 73s to everybody. Thanks for the suggestions. I'll let you know. I'm just going to, at least I can tell so far, I've measured on those capacitors, and they're fine. And I'm just going to finish putting the 3-wire in and see how we do. But it is an interesting suggestion just to pull all those caps. Trouble. Appreciate that. 73 for now. We'll see some of you guys this weekend. I won't be on Thursday. I got another thing to do. Over to you, Cliff. WB4NKL, K3OS.
WB4NK. I guess George got out. I'll say 73s too, and enjoyed it. And Gary, see you at Shelby, hopefully. And I'll be down the usual place, close to the restrooms when I'm not walking around. A friend of mine sets up on got several tents or several spaces there right beside the restrooms. So should be around that area somewhere. 73s, thanks for calling, Steve, and I'll try to catch everybody Thursday. K4VWD, it's WB4NK.
Let me check, see it. George, are you still here?
This is K4VWD. Well, I have a quick lightning story. When I was in the Army at Fort Benning, we were out on bivouac, and lightning struck a pine tree not too far from our command tent. And that lightning came down that tree, splitting it open, and hit the ground and dug a little trench from there across the road and hit our phone line. The telephone line was long, going from headquarters to other places. And that wire, that steel wire in that telephone line effervesced. It went from a solid to a gas without passing through a liquid. Because there were little tiny pinholes in the insulation, but no wire. I mean, the wire was completely gone. And I happened to be in an area where I was under a 2.5-ton truck. I should have been in it, but I was under it and had hold of the truck. And I got shocked, but very lightly. So I have not done that again. So anyway, if anybody sees a Junker AF-68 with a good knob on it, that may work. And don't forget, we got a lunch on September the 7th. So, Charlie, here she comes. W4MEC in the group, K4VWD.
Let me see if we skip George. George, are you still there?
Hey, George, are you still there?
Yeah, I'm here. I didn't hear Charlie come in, but I will say something. Thanks for calling me, man.
Calling to find out.
I guess it'll go to Charlie. So, W4MEC, K4GDN. 73, guys.
Okay, George. 73. We'll see you on Thursday, hopefully. W4MEC and the old friends. A couple more quick comments here. KWM1. Believe it or not, that was an inexpensive radio at one time. We had a good friend that down in Jacksonville, and he bought one for $100, and that was probably a lot of money when he bought it. It was the late 60s, and it might have been given to him. But anyway, he would talk to us on sideband on 10 meters, and me and my other buddy only had 8, and we talked back and forth on AM, and he would talk sideband on that KWM1. So now I understand it's kind of like worth its weight in gold. I forgot to comment on the caps on the power line issue there with Gary's thing, and I had started looking back. It's been several months ago, or a year ago. I was curious about that, why that was there, and I actually found a thread that said it was not for stopping incoming problems into a receiver. It was actually for stopping outgoing problems, and the military figured out they needed to have it. Receivers were sending out various things like oscillator signals and all that were going out the darn power line connection, so they started adding those caps in there. But that was just one place I read that. But you know, the internet can be known for inaccuracies, but I thought that was an interesting thing. I never quite understood how putting filters there would actually help anything, considering the fact it's got to go through a transformer next, you know. So, but going the other way makes a little more sense. Lightning striking more than once in the same place. Well, there was a famous fellow, Ray, that I think he at the time had been hit 7 times. It might have been more, and had survived every one of them. And one of them, he was driving in his car, and it went through the window and got him. He's got like the world. I think he's in the Guinness Book of World Records for a man that has been struck more times than anybody else. But the picture was him driving in a car and zapping him in his own car. So, and I forgot my favorite lightning story here that happened here a long time ago, probably within a year of moving here, and it has to do with cows and my wife and the cows. We were surrounded on about three sides with a pasture with cows in it. And for some reason, I've been associated with cows all my life from about the age 7 onward. I've had cows. They were around my school because it was built in a pasture, donated land from the owner in a dairy farm. And then in my work, where the FAA liked to put vortex in the middle of cow pastures, and now I'm living amongst them right around my window here. So anyway, I'd gone to work, and my wife walked outside, and there was this cow over in the pasture on its back with all 4 legs straight up in the air. And now we know cows will lay down like a dog and sleep. I don't know. I mean, in the wintertime, you'll find them in the pasture. It looks like somebody shot them stone cold dead, but they're laying on their side with their legs sticking straight out, and they're soaking up the winter sun. And this cow was on his back with his 4 legs sticking straight up. So when Martha Jean called the owner, he made a little joke about her knowledge of cows, and he said, she said, "Webb, this cow is dead. You need to come out here." Sure enough, this darn cow was dead as a post. And what the odd thing was it had to be taken to the state to be autopsied, because they had to prove the cause of death because of fear of mad cow disease and all that. So they confirmed that it got cooked from inside out, but that cow was sitting on his back with all legs pointing toward Jesus was quite the shocker for my wife there. So anyway, that's my last story on cows. 7-3, we'll look for you fellas on Thursday. Hopefully Ray's still there. W4VRO in the group, W4MEC.
Well, I am, Charlie. And an interesting cow story. And a lot of interesting lightning stories. W4MEC in the net, W4VRO. Good information about getting protection from lightning, and it apparently is best to get inside a house and to get good protection. Not a flimsy wooden shed, but inside a house. And that makes sense. And you know, if I understand the travel of electric energy of different types, and that's a big question mark. I don't know that I do understand it. But I read somewhere that the majority of the energy through a wire, for example, will travel on the circumference of the wire and less in the core, the center of the wire conductor. And do that with any kind of conductor tends to favor the outer conductor or whatever. And so if that's right, then maybe lightning is following that principle by hitting a house and going staying on the outside of the house. And as a matter of fact, I've seen at least 2, and maybe just 2 houses that have been struck by lightning, and there's evidence that the lightning struck the top of the house and then came down the outside wall and went into the ground. And a burn streak of clearly visible where that took place. So that sort of verifies that inside the house is a good place to be. Enjoyed the net. I'm using the Johnson 500 this morning, running 350 watts carrier, and everybody's sounding great, and it was a good net, Steve. Appreciate you calling it. 73 to all. N4LQ in the group, W4VRO.
Okay, Ray, W4VRO in the group, N4LQ. That Viking 500 sounds really nice, good crisp and penetrating audio. It's cutting through the QRN just beautifully. And real strong here too today. So it's been a good net, and hearing about roast beef and all that stuff. And we'll go ahead and shut the net down. 73s to everybody. Have a great week. And I guess our next net will be Thursday morning at 9 a.m. So with that, this is N4LQ shutting down the Old Friends Net. Good morning.